look at how it's doing something that we do best.
Right.
This is a beautiful lunch we're having. Maybe Aunt Rose and Aunt Dolly's
And
home.
today is, what is today, April 3rd now, isn't it?
Yes, it is
Friday.
April 3rd.
It's April 3rd.
Kathy's birthday is the
1992.
26th. Whose birthday is, when is your birthday, Margaret?
In October.
In October.
21st.
I was sort of thinking it was in October, but I couldn't. Quilts and rugs and practically everything was handmade.
Really, though.
What's up?
I never knew them. They were very distant relatives.
Carl Overton.
Well, Overton is an English name, but they always told us we were Scotch-Irish, see? And I got this thing.
But indeed we were not.
I don't even remember what it said now, but anyway.
English. English, really.
It's Overton.
T-O-N, see?
Yes. Overton and
And-
Witcher were both English.
In England, any name that
And Mama was
with
a
T-O-N was a very social, accepted person. That many books I have read, and the Tons always accepted people. And they're very high fashion, social life.
What about the names that ended with Ham?
Don't
H-A-M?
know.
You don't know about that.
Yeah.
We don't have any
don't
connection with
remember.
any ham.
Margaret, would you like more food, darling?
No.
We're gonna get some strawberry short, something in a little bit, but no rush.
I always used to be amused too with the stories that I would hear by Aunt Nell and Mom when they would come here to visit when they were girls. Seems like some aunt was always tending some nieces, you know.
Well, I did tell you that Papa's mother was a Morley, Susan Morley.
And they're the ones that have the reunion every year. Is that right?
Yes, it is the Moors that have that reunion every
They're
year.
the Morleys,
Okay.
they're the ones that have the reunion.
Okay.
And I think it's been in Rocky Mount most of the time, but the last
Yes.
time invitation we got was somewhere else, wasn't it, God?
Don't remember those.
Our invitation usually comes out from Raleigh.
So his parents were John Overton and Susan Mooring, and your mothers were Witchard and Jones.
Staten, Witches,
Staten Witchard and
and
Eleanor
Elmer Jones.
And Staten Witchard, there were two other names that you mentioned. Were those uncles?
Roscoe and
Oh, they were Mama's brothers.
Oh, her brothers, your uncles.
They were witches.
Uh-huh.
But they, were deceased long ago
I remember when
and had no heirs. So,
He was, what was his name? Uncle Zeb lived with Aunt Rosa Bailey for a while. And I remember Mama and Aunt Rosa carrying him around by the seat of his pants, one on one side and one on the other, and they'd each just take a hook right down here, see, and lift him and carry him from. And one thing specifically I remember, Aunt Rosa had this little bitty back porch, and they would put his particular chair back there in the back porch, and then they'd pick him up and carry him out there and sit him down after they had bathed him and changed his clothes, and he was just as happy as could be. He was
He
a nice
had a
little fellow, very quiet.
malignancy. I think it was the liver, wasn't it, John?
Yes.
Anyway, Aunt Rosa took him to ride in the car. She drove in those days. She was a real brave soul. And Uncle Zeb couldn't anything like fasten his pants around his middle. Next day he died.
and Heber, wasn't the name Heber, cousin Heber?
That was a cousin down
Christian, that was one of Mama's.
Really,
I remember
adjoining
him.
farm, really. Not quite joining, across the road, down the way.
Yeah, I can remember riding behind someone on the back of a mule
Yes,
to visit that home.
yes. Can you remember what the mules were named, Cathy? I do you not want to quote. One named Polly and one named Puss.
No, I wouldn't have remembered.
And we had a horse early along named Gray,
Uh-huh.
old Gray. I
Well,
remember
Dolly, and my horse was named Molly.
Yeah, well, I remember Gray. And Mama and
I
Naomi
used to
and
ride
Nora
her
and I
back. She was
used
so
to go to
down.
Bethel to see Bud and Lila, and that was when they were there once earlier in their marriage. And we'd go to Bethel. And they lived out a tad on the other side of Bethel, really. And your mom went to stay one summer, and she was jumping up and down on the back of a tobacco truck. And when you jump like a jump board, see, it would go down to the ground and it would come back up. And she missed it. And it skinned her front of her shanks, her legs all the way up.
Who was that, Dolly?
Naomi, and it was no little thing. It was a major problem. Major. They would clean off the dining room table and put clean sheets up there and quilts and more sheet and everything and put Naomi up there and they put hot towels on her legs and her, oh, it was a horrible thing. But anyway, by and by she got well, but oh, she had bad places. I don't mean just one little bad place here. I mean the whole way up. Just, it looked like a 3rd-degree burn. It was black.
And this is when
When she was young.
visiting? When visiting?
Yes.
So did you guys have
That was before she was married. Oh.
Yeah, see?
Wasn't it before she was married?
Yeah, oh yeah.
She's
look.
a little girl.
Yeah, she was little. I could barely remember. I must have been about 5 or 6.
So you had ointment and salves and things to put on and stuff like that, did you?
But you see,
At
even
work?
then we had plenty of nurses in the family. They didn't know it yet, but that's what they were. Mom and Dad both were really good as far as taking care of the eels. So was Bud and Uncle Ben.
I know Bob told me, that's my husband, and Papa had his stroke, and he was in the hospital, and in those days, in order for a patient to get oxygen, they had to be under the tent. Well, Papa would just fight every tent, you see, and just tear it up and everything. And the boys, Albert and
You want
Willis
bread?
and
Gina,
Ben and Bob,
get
and
your
they were
bread,
all
darling, if you
trying
want
to
one. Eat all the bread. We
see
got more
to
bread.
his needs and take care of him. He didn't know
Eat all
anything.
the bread you want.
And I know Bob came out
Yeah.
and he said, I'm telling you one thing. He said, there's 2 people in that room that does not belong in there. And I said, who is that? He says, me and Ben. He said, the other boys get along fine. But said, Ben and I have no business in there. Ben, he felt it too deep. You see, it got too close to him. And I think Paul was there as bad.
But actually Ben turned out real good toward taking care of because he took care of Pearl properly. Solely, didn't he, Jean?
And he also did a lot for Willis earlier when he could. And Willis said Ben was a grand cook. And honey, he didn't even know how to go to the store and buy a loaf of bread for so a long time. He said Ben's a real good cook and he'll clean that kitchen and before he leaves and everything. So he has things pretty well under control.
Sounds like Bill's doing real well since
I hope
his
so.
surgery.
I haven't seen him.
Sounds that way.
I asked Daddy about it this morning. He said he was doing fine.
Aunt Rose, I remember when you had the dogwood, wasn't it painted on that wall?
Right. It was an oriental design. Yes, I had to have the walls redone, so I just covered it up. And I won't be painting another.
It was the strangest thing.
I liked it.
Yes, it was
I
pretty.
liked it.
I liked it
But
too.
the paper that it was on needed it. You see, it just was beginning to look worn and bad, and so I just forgot about it. It's still over there, but it'll never be seen again, I'm certain, because the glue.
Yeah.
So what'd you say, Doc?
I didn't say anything. I didn't say
But you
one
want her
word.
to.
ESP.
So, back to the house that burnt down, that was a home your father grew up in? It was
Right,
the house of your grandparents? And the house that
And
you...
I'll show you a picture if you remind me, okay, when we have time.
And then you were born in a house down the road?
From that,
When
From
his
that,
dad couldn't
But
go.
then the rest of the family
She was
was at
thinking she
the
was going to come
same house
Willis was
tonight,
born in the same little
but
house
her
that I
schedule
was.
is so crazy that
But
it might
when
be
Albert
tomorrow.
was born, we had moved to Mama's
Did you
father's.
understand that to be the case?
And he was born
She
there.
looking it over,
Well,
but
And
just,
that,
just
I
keeping
remember.
it together the best she can.
I think she likes
The
what she's doing,
Titanic
but the
sank.
pace is too hectic.
Oh,
About
really?
that time.
She says she can't keep it up for long.
Let's see what
I was
else.
kind of hoping that,
Oh, I want to tell you this about Mama's father. He was what they call a magistrate, I believe, or something. And another thing,
A magistrate?
anyway, he had the only telephone anywhere miles around. You know, in those days, the telephone was something just
It
about
showed
unheard
that she was
of.
very prestigious.
But anyway, the blacks and some whites would buy their marriage license and come to him to be married, and he would marry them out under the shade of the oak trees.
boy,
I
wow.
I was just a little thing, but anyway, I remember.
And Rose said that having been the only ones around with a telephone, they always had to deliver the word to everybody and his brother about
Good news, bad news.
What was going
Right.
down, huh?
And another thing, in those days, they let the cows in the country, see, go just loose. And they would graze in the woods and come back up at night and that kind of thing. And as a result, you know, they had a lot of ticks. And Grandpa had this dipping vat. And what it was a deep cement vat with
Down in the
steps
ground.
on one end. They go down. They go through that, it was creosote water,
Yes.
I believe.
Mhm.
Go through the creosote water and
Creosote
up the
water.
other end.
Oh.
And he had to dip everybody's cows anywhere for miles around. I remember
Everybody
that.
came to Grandpa's to did the fixes, huh? News and
He was a valuable asset in
Yeah,
that
right.
community.
Like
What was his occupation?
Farming.
He was.
Farming. And of course he had cows too, and so did everybody else in those days. If you wanted milk and butter, you grew them yourself. If you wanted cow, you grew it yourself. You didn't go to the market and buy. And he had, you know, everything that comfortable country people
okay, my
had.
dear Jan,
yes.
we'll fix our
Doc, bring the cake in here, honey, and set it there where your plate is, and I'll see if I can do something with it.
So, what gave him the power to marry people? I don't really understand what a magistrate is.
Well, now, see, I don't know either. That's all that I remember. He was, it was a legal thing. I mean, he had the qualifications, otherwise he couldn't have done it. It wasn't anything illegal or shady. But it was a very little thing. I wasn't more than 3. I wasn't more than 4 years old. But that's one scene I shall never forget. And I remember Uncle Zeb. It was Grandpa and Uncle Zeb, and Mama and Papa moved in the house with them. Uncle Zeb's room was upstairs. And I always wanted to go upstairs. And Uncle Zeb would have his cousins to come visit him, you know, and they'd go upstairs and stay. And I was little, and I was always curious what was going on upstairs.
How did the house burn down?
This is the Overton house now that burned down.
This
Right.
is not the Stokes house.
Right. What kind of Overton house?
I don't know. I didn't know what had happened to the house, and Ben told me that it burned down. See, that happened after I left out of, you know.
After you were married?
Well, I don't know about that, but I was not there. See, I was away a while before I married. I went to school and stayed with an aunt in Mount Olive, Aunt Leslie. And I finished high school in Mount Olive. And I don't know, but I remember it was Ben that told me that the house burned. And anyway, I have since been by, and there was nothing there, not even the trees. And I remember when, like, the house was here, and see from here was yard, and all up and down the walk were rose bushes, and all around, spotted around, for things like gardenias, you know, they call them Cape Jasmines. What do they call them? Cape Jasmine. They were flowers, see, and she had flowers of
Well,
various.
I know gardenias, I never heard of.
Well, that's no. And here in this place, before you open the gate to go in the yard, were trees. And over here, you had the driveway to the lot area, and that was where the cattle, mules, and horses, and whatever he had. And going up here, up this lot driveway, it was lined in peach trees on this side, all the way down. And I remember riding, I think Willis and I were the only ones big enough to ride in the buggy with. I think maybe it was, I know it was a buggy at that time. I was too little for service. But anyway, and looking at the pretty peaches on the trees all the way down. And back in back, he had big grapevines that he made wine for the church and that kind of stuff. So both of our grandfathers were prosperous farmers, and they were purely farmers.
What about the house in Stokes, the family home? That had a fire at some point, didn't it?
Not to my knowledge. It might have burned since it's been sold, but
No, I'm thinking, no.
no.
No?
Mm-mm.
My mother used to say that.
Well, I
that there
think,
was
Cat, I think you misunderstood her. It never has.
I see.
Mm-mm.
What I remember, or thought I did, was that she was saying there was a fire, and it was after that boy's bedroom was put on or something.
No. When we see your mother, see, she wasn't even born when we moved there. I don't know.
I think she was talking about an incident that was before her time.
Well,
So maybe
when we moved there, it was a very small house. It was like 2 rooms, and then another room, and a kitchen. And what they did is added on what we always called the boys' room. No, there was just nothing there. Then they put the porch all the way around.
There was an open knothole in the door of the boys' room, I remember.
Right. No, there was never a fire there. Anyway, Mama bought the farm with her inheritance. And Papa
Okay.
put his inheritance in. Dolly, where are the plates, honey?
I forgot the plate.
Oh, let's,
No.
We need a plate for our cake in it.
oh,
Yeah,
No, let me do it. It's something I do.
We can get nothing. We can get rid of the whole thing. Lift your stuff in.
We want to close it.
This is very
Set
ill
it-
mannered shit,
set
darling.
it right on my hands and I'll do something about it. Set it right on my napkin. I don't want a mosquito.
Alright, I'll push it to the center a little bit.
That's one thing, right, darling. Yeah.
Jenny can do this. Jenny, I don't really know how to. Here, girls. We're going to do this, okay?
Okay.
Let's get a plate and cut off a piece and take it off, and then I can go from there. How about that?
Okay, alright, let me get a plate. Like find one.
Is your one right there in the thing? Get that one right there.
Yeah.
Let's see, it'll be okay.
Well, we ordered, we got it from the deli, and we ordered devil's food.
And
when
devil's
Doc-
food, honey, is chocolate layers and
And
white
when Donna went
icing.
to get it, somebody else
Oh,
had our devil's food. So we don't know what we have here, we'll just find out. I think, does anybody want this outside ice, and do I just cut it in two?
Yeah, anybody
Sure,
like
you should cut
outside?
it too and
Uh,
run me a piece. Oh, you're saying,
Yeah, they said
Give
they
it-
like outside ice and
Sure.
stuff. Any of them will take it.
okay,
unless
here,
there's somebody else
Jenny.
that wants it.
Get you one, Jen.
Jen.
Here, let me.
We can go around the cake and cut everybody a piece of outside ice.
Just be having some
That sounds good. Is there somebody else that would rather have it? I just was trying to
You take a
get
piece
it out of the way.
You didn't want to stand there and see it unwanted, did
That's
you?
right,
Jen?
that's right.
This is so pretty.
It doesn't matter because I'm gonna get that plate out of the way anyway. I don't understand why this thing is sticking so badly. But then we didn't bake the
It
cake.
had been just made, so when I picked it up, so
Can you serve that
I'm
some?
gonna serve it to Mary. If Mary, does this
Yeah,
chocolate
it
suit
looks
you?
great.
I'm gonna kind of scoop it over here and hopefully
Alrighty.
not drop it on there.
If only I were a camel.
I
Only
No,
I were
I'm
a
just
camel. I
planning
could
on it.
store
I
all
don't
this
think I want
nutty
that
for a week.
anymore.
I know it. But
Mm.
we want to not
No,
eat for a
I'll
week.
just,
You know,
Okay.
yes,
just
I
put it
do.
right here on there.
Right.
And then you take the thing and do whatever you want to.
No, I don't, I'm gonna put it in
Did you
Miss
put this
Margaret's
together,
plate.
Aunt Dolly?
No, I
No,
meant
Well,
the,
just let it sit,
Rose
let
is
the
the
ice cream
artistic one
sits
in the
right
family
there.
dog.
I meant the knife. You don't think you'll need it for the knife?
I think not.
Aunt Rose, your centerpiece looks beautiful.
Thank
It
you.
does, it just looks beautiful.
A lot of, Margaret inherited a lot of your tastes and
Oh, she
ideas.
did?
The
Really?
talent, Margaret and Phil.
Really?
And Margaret's a real
I worked
collector
real smart.
Really?
of antiques. And
Somebody's gonna get some goo. I hope it's good goo.
Margaret would prefer to go to a flea market to buy her furniture and anything she needs than to go to the store.
That's all right, that's clever, Mama.
She sees
Sometimes you can get a real treasure.
Oh,
I
yeah,
saw
yours, honey.
some little stores in town too.
I want a
when we
small
driving
piece,
in.
Rose.
Okay, this is the small size.
Okay.
You know, anything around us
Golly, why
at
don't you
home,
leave
though,
the thing on it?
I will, I'll put it right back.
in the way of flea markets gets real pricey.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It is
I like that too, Margaret.
the thing to do.
I can show you some flea market stuff.
But if you get into the
We
country,
had it right on the
Yeah.
table.
Then you do
Can you
okay.
guess what it is?
And you can have it and eat that.
Oh, I don't
It's
know.
what you call depression glass.
Really, these?
Uh-huh.
I
Okay.
have some from,
Did everybody get cake?
I cannot.
Okay, now if anybody wants more cake,
No, I can't. I've got plenty.
you can be your own judge about that.
I have some depression glass that my Aunt Maggie, my Gramps'
Oh, you did?
sister,
How does it look?
it's beautiful. It's a big pitcher, like a lemonade type pitcher, and some small glasses
Hmm.
that match. It's beautiful.
What was their names? They were,
Agnes and May.
yeah, that's it. I
Well,
remember
Actually,
them.
Agnes and
Well,
Mary.
you see, I was
Yeah, May and her
married
name
into
was-
depression
Yeah,
right
I
at the very
remember- I
depth
remember
of
them
it,
very well.
1932.
Uh-huh.
And this we bought at the flea market, though. We bought it for somebody. And then we decided we
Hard
had
to
to
part
keep
with
it.
it.
We
I know the
liked it.
feeling.
For a while.
We liked it so well.
So when the person got it, they would really appreciate
Cat,
it.
would you have something else to drink, honey?
We have coffee if anybody would like
Oh,
coffee.
yeah, we do. don't
I
we?
don't
This
think
is
for
plenty.
I'll have some later. This is.
Have some coffee after a while. When our glucose wears out, we're drinking some caffeine.
What makes a depression glass, and why is a lot of it
It was-
green?
It was made during the Depression.
Nilma would be real proud if she could see.
And
Maybe she might see.
as I said, I was married in 1932, and that was the depths of the Depression. I don't have a lot of it. I used to have 2 or 3 pretty pieces, but somehow it got away.
Aunt Aggie, we've mentioned them. You know, Aunt Aggie and Aunt May were, they were a team.
Right.
You know, they were single aunts, sisters of our grandfather, of Pop Reardon. And he lived in their house for some time. But at one point Aunt May died, and then later Gramp died, you know. And then there was Aunt Aggie.
Is it really?
And she moved out, we helped her move out of this home that she had been in
Shared.
since she was 16 years old. You know, it was her family's home. So she was the daughter of a plumber, and Gramp was also a plumber. So this basement had all these old pipe fittings and tools and things to make lead and pipe and whatnot. So consolidating this home was a real task, you know.
Oh, sure.
And she had decided at some point that she was going to leave the house and go into an apartment. And it worked out real well. She was real happy with it. But what I'm getting to is some of the things that she had that she passed along.
Chewy.
She gave me some china. And this china of hers was full service for 12 with serving pieces and all the bowls and whatnot that she bought her mother when she was 18 for $1 a week for 20 weeks.
Oh, wow, that's wonderful.
And then remember those, there were some glasses, some crystal. There were a few, and she collected those during the Depression, one at a time out of Dawes soap boxes.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, priceless. That's just great.
So when, you know, she'd tell us where some of this stuff came from.
Well, Dottie, you were concerned about the berries being so sharp, but I think they turned out okay.
They
I'm
taste
just,
great.
They're
I'm just telling
delicious.
Mary, I hope that you girls can break the teeth out. But anyway, they're not the worst, are
Okay,
they?
they're
And
okay.
there's coconut.
It's great. This is good too, yeah. So do you still have all that? Do you use it? Or do you just
I do.
display it?
No, I use it. I use it in the dining room.
What happened to Bud, Rita's husband?
Uncle Bud died
Did he?
within 2 years of Aunt Rita.
Really? What age people were like that?
Aunt Rita, I think she died in 85. I want to say 85. And she was still in her 50s.
Unusual.
What did you die?
Or maybe,
It was
no,
Christmas Day.
it was Christmas Day.
Really?
Yes. But was she still in her 50s? Wasn't she?
Well, Dad was
Well,
born
she was-
in 21. And
She said Mom said that Aunt Rita and Uncle Phil were the same age. And Mom was born in 23. Oh, that's wrong. That's wrong, because Aunt Rita was younger. Uncle Phil was older. At any rate, she was a little younger than Mom. So let's say she was born in 25. 35, 45, 55, 66, 87, 85. So she was 59.
okay.
Yeah, she didn't turn.
I like
Yeah.
Rita.
But Uncle Bud, his whole life revolved around Aunt Rita, and there was really nothing wrong with him. When Aunt Rita died,
He had
He
emphysema.
stopped. yeah, I guess
But-
he did have a few problems, but I mean nothing that major.
No,
Yeah.
And when Aunt Rita died, he stopped coming to family get-togethers. He was basically heartbroken.
Yeah.
And within 2 years, he just
I like
never
him.
got
I
out
thought
of
he was
bed.
He was
Nice
a wonderful man, just
I
a
really
real
did.
dear man. He was found, found dead in bed.
He what?
He was found dead in bed.
Really?
He went
Didn't
to,
wake up.
yeah, he went to visit his brother, who lived in Champaign, and he and his sister went together to visit a brother in southern Illinois.
Oh, he died while he was there? Wow.
So this is a strange devil's food cake, isn't it?
It's good though.
Margaret,
It is very
that's
good. It's a
dark, yeah,
surprise.
but you don't have
And
to
you
take
better
your
believe
spoon
it's a
and
surprise,
Yeah.
isn't it?
You know, thinking, so many thoughts, there's so many things we wanted to talk about when we came. Just old news and new news and all that sort of
And
thing.
rehashing you.
Yes, and rehashing. But there were so many memories that I had of visits as a child, with all of you that I was trying to share with Mary and Margaret.
Right. Right.
And
Well,
so
I'll be glad to share anything that I remember, but as far as anything beyond my grandparents, I don't
Mhm.
know. Other than I do know I did have the old coat of arms research.
And you know, it's different today. So our social life is so different than it was years and years back, because years and years back you traded, you shared stories. There was a lot of storytelling and sharing of information and sharing of interests and projects.
Have not that much time to share
No.
anymore.
No, and it's the lifestyle. It's not a conscious decision, you know, or a lack of interest either.
Yeah, or
You know,
an
it's
avoidance.
not.
Tell us about Brian.
Brian is married to Michelle, and they have 2 little children, and Colleen and Patrick. And Brian is insulin dependent.
A boy and a girl.
Mm-hmm.
What ages are they?
Brian is Colleen is 5, and Patrick is 3.
Brian is insulin dependent.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anybody else in your family like that?
Mm-mm.
Isn't
Who's
that
Brian?
interesting?
At 21, he was diagnosed
In
with
college,
diabetes.
just sudden onset.
Yeah, I was wondering how is it controlled it fairly well now?
Mhm.
Does he use patch?
Mm-mm. 2 injections a day.
2 injections a day? Well, certainly he's familiar with the patch. I mean, then there's a thing that you can wear on the belt and it injects underneath the skin,
The
doesn't
pump.
it, Jen?
The pump.
Uh-huh.
There's an insulin pump.
Does he wear the pump?
He does
He
that.
just takes the 2 injections a day
As far
and
as
runs his urine at the time, and he takes the medicine and take it accordingly.
that, but he does
Finger
sticks. At least once a day.
Well, how did they come up with him? I mean, where do they think his diabetes stemmed from?
Wasn't Dad's mom?
They say, but
It's hard
But
to
she
tell.
wasn't on insulin, and there's so much other health history mixed up there that I'm not sure.
What, your
I
grandma?
remember Naomi telling
Oh, she
me
was.
that Aggie and me were both diabetic.
I thought she was
Not to my
diabetic.
knowledge.
I thought
Until I talked to
was.
Cathy one
Really?
time, and Cathy says no, but I thought she was diabetic.
Who's that?
What your grandma? I thought your grandma was diabetic.
We didn't have any diabetes
May-
in our family.
It's very likely. I know she didn't take insulin though.
Well, I went when it was born. And this is going to sound like a bear tale. Or what did I cook up? But it's no cooking up.
When who was born?
Above the dining room table there was a light with a cross in it.
I've heard this story.
And sometimes it would come on, sometimes it wouldn't. It was very strange. And the details are more strange, but I can't remember the specifics now. But it was very, very strange after your grandma died.
It was like a light bulb. It was a cross, but it screwed into
I
a
said-
socket.
I said, Naomi, when you were in the hospital and the baby was born, the light was burned. It couldn't be. She said it burned out a month ago. I said, oh no. It was on.
It was a short.
Had to be.
No hocus pocus, huh?
Really? So how long did it stay on for long?
I thought, well, we've got some extra strong powers around here. Hey, come on.
I had a recent experience with a short, so I know.
Oh, so you're all up on shorts, huh?
Just about 10 minutes before y'all pulled in the drive, we realized it.
The bulb was burning.
In the bathroom. The bulb went shot.
Well, we've also had trouble with our little heating on.
Huh?
Don't you remember when you heated the bathroom and when you
Yeah.
it was a stone cold?
No.
And in a little while it came on.
But anyway, Father, a 17-year-old girl was away from home for the first time, and in Chicago, whatever that light said, I was okay with me. I didn't have a bit of argument.
Especially when that girl, you know, she was told that the home was on the south side of Chicago. So if I'm not mistaken, she got off the train when they said South Chicago, which is another
did.
town altogether.
Oh no.
And rode in on a coal car.
Oh, Lord, did you ever sit up on the heat?
And it was 17 below zero. I mean, not so real, but freezing.
They couldn't even light a few coals, huh?
And tell what you learned when you got there.
So, Neil was in the hospital having a baby, and Cliff had gone to the station about 50 times.
Looking for
He was running from one station to the other. And I arrived and nobody could meet me, so I got a cab and went around to the house. And the house was locked and there's a big dog on the inside carrying on. I was scared to go in the house. So I went across the street and this woman says, Mrs. Reardon live there. And she says, oh, Miss Reardon is dead.
Oh, no.
And that was
I thought you were talking about Neil.
Oh,
That
I
was
said,
our
yeah, she was
grandmother.
talking about the grandma.
who died about 4 weeks before that.
Oh.
And I said, Miss Reardon is dead.
And you?
So you just
When
followed
I
her, right?
finally got over it, she almost was dead.
She got back on the cold car.
Because that was a bad trip right for a few minutes. I thought, my life has been nothing but a mess.
What an ending, huh?
I'm not going to go home and tell my mom and dad.
So then, how did you ever get up? Where you
Oh,
were supposed to be?
it was a bad thing. I don't want to talk about it. It was a bad thing.
Okay, never mind.
He said you just sat there on your suitcase.
No, I didn't. I thought, well, all hope is gone. There's nothing going on for When Clear came home, I kind of began to put it together. And then we went to pick up Cathy and Bud. And they were a little bit of cheddar cutie pies. And my world was suddenly glued back together.
So you were 17?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Just out of high school.
So that
It
was
was my
pretty young
debut.
to be traveling to
Right.
Chicago. Taking
Could I
it.
serve somebody?
From little old
cake?
Stokes,
No,
anyway, huh?
Yeah.
Jenny,
Yes.
you want some more cake?
Thank you, no. I've had plenty. It was great.
So I bet my mom was finally glad to see you. And you her.
Yeah.
Said
She was in hospital. She came home. We had a mighty fine time.
I mean, Dolly jumped in bed with her. Yeah, she first saw her.
No, Cliff wouldn't let me. He was pretty glad to see her himself.
Were you still there when Ed got sick?
Oh, honey.
Is
We walked with
anybody
that
at
baby,
this
walked with
table
that baby.
named
He was so
Margaret
sick.
Rose?
Yes.
He was so sick.
What's that?
I said, is anybody here named Margaret Rose?
Oh.
Isn't
Margaret
that something?
Rose.
Margaret Rose.
Margaret.
Margaret Rose
Graduated.
is Rose's namesake.
Oh.
Margaret Rose has just finished
I don't
school.
have a big bow ribbon
Oh,
on it. Anyway,
Sarah.
just gets a little bit strong.
And Margaret Rose is going one soon.
Do you think
And so that makes it extra special.
I'm sure it will. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
look at that.
Oh my
Let's
goodness.
get
Oh,
the cake
Yeah,
on.
he's
that
there.
long
Oh my.
So, Margaret, now you know Rose was measuring your wrist,
Oh,
darling.
I was thinking that question is mighty.
I'm not
It was
sure.
pointed, wasn't it?
Very pointed.
I thought it was so pointed if anybody didn't catch it, they were overdone.
It's 7.5 inches, 7 1/4 or something. Now look, it's a different
Oh.
gold. But do you want it on this
I
arm
can
or
try
that
this one.
arm?
I think it's a
Which had you rather have it on?
Put on this one.
Oh, that's
Is that
beautiful.
beautiful?
How
I
nice.
think
You
it's
got
really-
it.
How wonderful.
It's really fun. She says,
Let's
"I'll
see now,
do something
we
hard." I
matched
said,
this
This is your
thing.
moment.
Somebody with a steadier hand than mine is, I
Yeah.
think, is going to have, it has to go in just right.
Can I help you?
Take a good look at it, Cat.
The cat's real good
I
at that sort of
believe it.
thing.
You want some
See
kid
right
love?
there, and then that has to clip down on it somehow.
You know you
This
want
see
to.
it.
Thank you. I see
Put it
that.
down in Rose's house, that's all you want to.
Thank you.
I
You
think
know
it
what?
would be pretty on the arm with you,
Full.
Brace
think
one
you
to
do.
my-
I think
but it's
That's
a
the way we
different,
want it.
Very good.
Oh,
It's very
isn't
easy
that
for us to pick
beautiful?
some meat.
it's just right, isn't
And
it?
then I think
It
that
is.
makes
It's
the
We're
hand-
so thoughtful
Potatoes,
and
we
generous of each
Several
other.
things.
Thank you.
Souffle, see.
Isn't that
Freeze, all you have to do is just
See
fry
how it
something
looks
out.
with, the two shades of gold do
I
look
think they
nice
look
and
nice.
nice.
Oh, they look
I
just
think
fine.
Yeah,
They're
just
I
just
think I put it all together.
I think
I
I
should
would
do
too.
it.
I think I
They're
would.
just different
Cat to do
textures,
it
I
for
think.
you. Be
Mhm.
sure
That
that
little
little thing
thing.
is hooked.
Okay. It is now.
Thank you.
It is.
Mhm.
Well,
Thank
it's
you very
supposed
much.
to keep it boxed and stored and it was made.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me
Let me
see.
see. Let me see. Isn't that beautiful? Yes, look at that. That's
tell you what, way to go.
That is
Sisters.
Thank you so much.
See what you miss by not be having the right name.
You really blew it.
When you go home, you say, I don't like your mom. Mom, you named me the wrong name.
I think I like them together. Of course, either way that you find more
Is your
comfortable.
full name Dolly?
I'll tell you one thing about it,
Yeah, I was named
Margaret.
Yes.
This is your right hand,
Yeah, I
and
was
you use
named
it more
for
than you do this
That's
hand.
Right.
And
Grandpa
so it,
Grandpa
right.
Grandpa John.
Oh, sometimes you know they have on like
Yeah.
3-4 bracelets.
He had a
Although it's a
Aunt named
different
Dog.
shade of gold, I still
But
think it goes nice.
Aunt.
I think so
Mhm.
too,
So that's
because
where my name came from.
it's
And it
still
was,
the same.
it was
It's light,
Bob.
it's not like
And
red or
every time I have
anything.
anything,
Well, mostly it's a different texture, see. I think it's just a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Were
see
you
how
like
it's done?
Dolly Mary?
It is Dolly.
Oh,
Yeah.
and what's your middle name?
Yeah.
Morgan.
Oh,
And they
really?
were, they were Morgans.
Did, when you went
They
to
were
school,
Dolly.
did you
Morgan.
ever meet anyone else named Dolly?
No. No.
You never met anyone else at all named Dolly
I
except
think,
your aunt?
no, I've met a couple of
You're
Dollys.
so welcome.
Later.
I'm pleased
But
with
Dolly
the fact
Parton,
that
I
it's
think,
not
got
too
the first
big.
Dolly.
It comes down too
Not
long.
myself.
I think it's just right.
Very
I
good. You
really
don't
It
meet
is
anybody.
just right. It's
And your life that looks a
beautiful.
lot like you did.
But I looked, I wondered about links.
No.
And I said,
Not really,
well,
huh?
the last time I saw
I did
Margaret,
one time, I was on
she
the bus.
was kind of
Traveling from
hefty,
Fayette,
but
and this girl got on the bus
I
and she was
decided that would be a good
so
link, and I
remarkable
think it is.
and much like me with curly hair, out of control and everything else. It really gave me the willies. But anyway, she was no kin. I didn't find out. I just decided to leave her right where she was.
Don't want to bring her home to dinner or
No,
anything.
no, definitely not.
You know, Papa's people
You
were
have
mooring.
children,
His
just
mother
party.
was a mooring robber,
About like
and the father was the old.
150.
Cat, what will you have, hon?
Nothing.
So your middle name is,
Maureen.
oh, not Maureen, like M-A-U-R-E-E-N.
Uh-uh.
Oh, how do you
Maureen.
spell it?
With one O?
Yeah.
No, two.
Two O's.
M-O-R-I-N-G.
Mooring.
Oh.
I went to a mooring reunion one time and I thought it was in
Yeah, it was at
Greenville.
Rocky Mount,
Was it
wasn't it?
Rocky Mount? I
Mhm.
can't remember. I was thinking it was near Greenville, but I guess I'm wrong.
So you started to tell me after Ed was born what it was like when he was sick.
Oh, well, and he was so cute. I won't forget when, me and Cliff brought him in the door. And by that time, I'd had a real workout with Cathy and Bud, and I was about ready to put both of them in the truck and put to North Carolina on the lead. And let somebody, no, I was having a time of my life, man. I was in hog heaven. But anyway, this cute little trick came through the door, and he was so soft and sweet. Everything went fairly well, and then all of a sudden, his milk came back, and every milk came back, and his little tummy was hurt, and he was hurting, and he didn't like this world, and he didn't like his mom, and he didn't like his daddy, and he didn't like his eight dog. And we were changing formulas one time right behind us. We were trotting to the grocery store and get different things and trying to figure out what would be the best thing for this little fella. But in the end results, he had to go back and have surgery. But in about 3 hours after the surgery, he was eating and having himself a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was okay from then on out.
Mhm.
Surgery.
Pyloric stenosis.
Anyway, he was a dear little fella.
Mm-hmm.
I love him.
Mm-hmm.
I still have a
I'm gonna put this
special
butter
real
feeling
in
boy.
everybody
I
has
have a
that.
special
And
feeling
it-
for it too,
Yeah.
and all the rest.
My son that I named Edward also had the same surgery.
Really?
He
Your son did?
he started
Really?
spitting up his milk right after he
Rose
was
had,
born.
I don't know where she had the surgery or not, but Rose has osteoporosis and has had trouble.
Oh, his
Uh-huh.
was pyloric stenosis.
Yeah, that's what it is for
And and pretty soon I'd go
Yeah.
to change his
Just a
diaper
little
and they wouldn't
odor right at
be
the tummy time.
right.
Yeah,
I'd go to change his
Sound like I'm
diaper and they
going
wouldn't
to
be
have
wet
sleep
anymore. They were
psychosis,
just all
but
messed
anyway.
up.
Sound like I'm hallucinating in the brain.
Fixed him up in a
Come on.
minute.
Osteoporosis when I mean.
We knew.
Please do.
It's all that medical info overload. Is
That
what
is,
it is.
that's what it is.
It's
Burnout.
Circuit
called burnout.
overload. Yes. Oh, I know about
For
that.
North
No.
opening into the intestine. Rose has it all the time. Even now, she has trouble with it. What do you guys want? What do you want over there?
We're
honey?
just digesting.
A,
Oh, feels wonderful.
One of those racks.
Darling,
Yes, dear.
you know, honey, you're being recorded, everything you say.
That's fine.
Oh, my dear.
We're,
I will try to.
We won't.
it's our,
It's not
the
gonna be-
maid's not
I'll
listening.
try to choose my words a little bit more carefully.
Oh, it's not gonna be
It's
free
for
to
us,
everyone.
no.
It's our private little memory.
The maid is not listening.
Very good. Anyway, I thought Brad and Rita were pretty nice people. They had me around to their home when I was in Chicago on this thing. Had a big table with everybody sitting around, had a fine time. Rather enjoyed it a lot and remembered it
Mm-hmm.
and shared.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were special people.
Margaret, you're not lined up for getting married, are you?
She's not even lined up to go to the movies with anybody.
I'm glad.
The poor thing.
She and I are gonna form a
I
club.
tell you, you're gonna enjoy yourself.
Margaret was spent in Europe.
Where did you go in Europe?
Nah.
Yes.
That's when
Excuse me,
5 years
girl.
ago when
Shall
I
I
went.
put those berries in the thing?
My girlfriend and I had train passes,
I'll
rail
go.
passes.
Mhm.
So we
Yeah,
just
I'll
kind
go.
of trained all. We didn't go into Scandinavia or anywhere.